This week, the list of things I'm working on is pretty small, actually. But then again, I feel like I always say that, and then I end the week with like 3 random whips that I didn't start the week out with. But here's what I'm working with right now. You may recall that last week I cast off the body of my tulip loop roll neck, so the next action item on this is to pick up the stitches for the turtleneck portion and get started on that. I am running low, though, on the mohair yarn that I'm holding my base yarn with. This is Alpaca Blaze from Hobie. It's not actually mohair. It's like a synthetic alpaca blend. In my last video, I told you guys that this was the last skein I had of this yarn with me, but I actually ended up finding another one. That being said, that won't be enough to finish the sweater on this trip, so I'm going to get through as much of this sweater as I can, and then when I get back to the States and get all settled, I'll order some more Alpaca Blaze so that I can finish this sweater. You may remember that I am frogging an old sweater for yarn. I actually spent my morning at a cafe frogging that sweater. Because it's made of fluffy mohair, it's like really hard to frog, so I do have to dedicate large chunks of time to getting that done, but I ended up getting a lot of yarn. I am frogging that sweater so I can continue working on a balaclava design that I'm freehanding, and it's so hard to show you, but I promise I will later. But I'm making good progress on this. Right now, I'm actually about to go head to the movie theater. Wow, I like literally don't remember what the movie is called that I'm seeing. I'm Still Here. It's a Brazilian movie, and it's nominated for Best Picture and Best Foreign Feature Film this year at the Oscars. I like to try and watch all of the Oscar-nominated films every year. I've been in the process, like a very drawn-out process of moving for the past 2 months. So I'm really behind on my movies, so I gotta go see some. Last week, I actually brought a project with me to the movie theater, which I never do, because every time I try and work on something at the movies, it doesn't go very well. But last week, I found that this theater actually keeps their lights pretty high until right as the movie starts. So I do actually think I'm gonna bring this balaclava with me and see if I can't get some work done on it. If you guys can see, I'm still here. You must. It's so good. Literally such an inspiring story about how you can take living in unprecedented times and use that adversity to like find strength in yourself and growth. I don't know about the future of this thing, to be honest. Let me walk you through it, actually. So the goal is for it to be a tight-fitting balaclava, right? I don't really want it to be like a loose-fitting hood. I don't have any sketches or anything, but what I was hoping to do was have a tight balaclava that then went into a long ribbed neck section. I have a really long neck, so I feel like most hood and balaclava patterns that I've followed in the past, the ribbing's never long enough. So I really wanted like a very tight, long neck ribbing section that then flared out into a collar. And I started doing the ribbing and I tried it on, and it was fitting under my chin, but then there was just a huge gap in the back. So I don't know. I sized down my needles, and I'm going to try doing some decreases in the back section and some increases in the front section. To be honest, I'm losing steam on this today, but I want to make sure that I get my ideas down before I forget them and like start it a little bit. So I'm going to do a few more rows on this, and then I think I'm going to set it down. I don't know. I'm feeling a little discouraged that I'm going to be able to bring my vision to life, but there's only a few things I could do to troubleshoot it anyway, so I might as well just give them a shot and then see. Last night, it really hit me that we don't have that much longer in this trip. Our trip totals about 6 weeks from start to finish. And I think just in all the planning of this trip, and then, you know, when we first got here, that sounds like such a long amount of time. And it is. It really is for a vacation, especially. But then being here, there's just been so much to do that the time has flown by. So I'm realizing that it's kind of now or never. If there's any more stores that I want to do a second time around to, or if there's places that I haven't seen for the first time, I kind of need to do that like ASAP. I only have 10 more real days of this trip, including today. So that being said, my mission before leaving Canada is to consume as much poutine as possible. I went on Reddit and I got a list of all of the best poutine places in Montreal as recommended by locals, and today we're going to go to one of them. I've already gone to a few since we've been here, but there's a chain that I've seen a few locations of and it looks really yummy, and that was on the list. So we're gonna go there today, and then there's one more yarn store here that I haven't been to yet. So we're gonna go there. A reminder or context if you're new here, I'm about to move to a place where there aren't gonna be a lot of local yarn stores, so I wanna make sure that if I see yarn that I like here, I'm gonna get it. I have a few patterns that I've already picked out that I want to make in the spring. If you haven't watched my spring knitting plans video, you can check that out. So I'm gonna try in the next few days and hit up all these local yarn stores and see that I can't get some yarn for those projects specifically. It's just kind of now or never, it feels like. It's probably not, but it feels that way. We're gonna go on a nice long walk, get some steps in. Wow, it's already almost noon, so let's get going. That was a wildly successful afternoon. I had one of the best plates of poutine I've had since I've been here. It was so good I didn't even really show you any of it because I just was so hungry by the time I got there, and then the minute it came to my table I was like, let's eat. And then right after I ate my poutine, I went to La Babanousse. Hi, I'm editing right now. I actually literally can't believe how I just pronounced that. It's French, so let's just actually look up the proper pronunciation and just set the record straight.
Bobineuse.
Bobineuse. Bobineuse. Anyway, back to the video. I went to La Babanousse. That's probably one of my favorite stores I've been to since I've been here. I had a lot of hard decisions to make while in there because they had hands down the biggest selection of local yarns that I've seen since I've been here. So I immediately was drawn to the wall of local yarns. And when I say local, a lot of them were like local to Montreal specifically. I was looking at that selection and I was trying to find something that I could make work for my space top. That's a pattern that I'm making in the spring that I've really been focusing on in terms of shopping for yarn. I bought one skein of yarn for it when I went to Ottawa, and I've kind of just been looking for yarns to hold with it. All of the yarns that were on the local yarns wall that would have worked for this pattern, I guess we're all just hanging out together right now. The prices were fine, the yardage was fine on those yarns. That wasn't really the issue. Honestly, though, a lot of them were like very rough wool, and I specifically want this top to be something that I don't need to wear a layer under because it's like a summery breezy top. So I knew I needed something soft. As I went further in the store, I saw that they had this sock yarn by Cascade Yarns. This specifically is a sock yarn that's made of 100% recycled materials. It's merino, nylon, and viscose. What struck me is that the price of this was really good and the yardage is amazing. You get 503 yards in a ball, which is just perfect for the quantity that I need for the space top. So I was able to get some gray and get some black, and I'm going to hold the black with the fun, funky yarn that I got in Ottawa for this top. I got a bunch of balls of the gray, so I'll be using that as like my main color for the top. So I'm really excited about this. And though it would have been nice to have some local yarns used in that shirt, I think in the end, I'm ultimately going to appreciate it more if I use materials that I know will be comfortable. I didn't mention this earlier today, but I think I'm gonna table the balaclava project for now. It has become clear to me as of last night that the shape that I knit the hood portion in is more suited to a bonnet than it is to a balaclava. I need to set it aside for at least a few days and just see if I either get the nerve to frog it or if I just find myself in the mood to just full send and just finish making it into a bonnet. So that being said, I'm going to spend the rest of the day working on the turtleneck of this sweater. I did a little bit of knitting on it in a cafe earlier, and it's going really quickly because there's not that many stitches in the turtleneck, but I'll work on that for a little bit, and then I think I want to gauge swatch for my space top because I'm just curious about the yarns that I got for it, and I'm really excited about it. So that's what I've got going on. That's my update. Hobbs, do you have anything to say? Oh my god, I'm sorry you guys. This is a family channel, Hobbs. I got the turtleneck cast off this morning, very exciting. It looks amazing. My only concern in terms of fit right now is I noticed as I was trying it on that in the back, there's a bit of bunching happening around the top of the collar right up here. And I'm not sure if that's because I picked up like too few stitches in the back or something and it's like pulling it weird. I'm hoping that releases with blocking, but there's not much I can do about that right now. So otherwise, very happy with how this is looking. Tonight, I'm going to start the first sleeve. I'm very excited. But to give myself a little bit of a break from that, this afternoon, I made a gauge swatch for my space top, and I think I like the way it looks. I wish that the colors in the Full Moon Fibers yarn got to sing a bit more, but because I'm holding it with black, it doesn't really read so much as like a funky color situation. It reads as more like pops of color amidst black and gray, which is cool. Just not initially what I had in mind, but I think I'm going to stick with this yarn combo. But I'm like 5 or 6 stitches under gauge in terms of stitch count with width. Don't really know what to do about that. And then the fabric is super dense and stiff and not great. And then I size up to 4mm needles just for curiosity's sake for just a few rows. And the fabric feels nice. It looks a lot better, but I'm like already over gauge really for my smaller needles. So not really sure what to do. That'll be a puzzle for future Addie, but I'm glad that I went ahead and swatched it just to see what it's looking like. And I'll cross that bridge when I get to it. For now, let's work on the sleeves.
Hobbs, come here.
Yesterday was very productive. I got a ton of editing done on this vlog that you're watching now, so that's always fun. And then I also got a ton done on my sleeve. This is definitely one of those sleeve situations where it feels like I'm cranking it out and then I look at it and I'm like, oh, I have done literally nothing. So we'll see how long it takes me. My goal right now is to just finish this skein of yarn and see how far it gets me, because that way I'll know how much more of this I need to order before I cast on the second sleeve. So that's good progress. Pretty excited about that. I thought I was going to be able to crank out a bunch on this today, but I think actually we're going to have a fun day of adventuring instead. So may not get too much progress done on this, but I do have crochet club tonight. It's going to be the last time that I'm able to go to a meeting of Montreal Crochet Club while I'm here. That's pretty bittersweet, but I've been so grateful for that club during this trip. But I have that club meeting tonight, and I've actually every single time been very like set on bringing a crochet project, but you are allowed to bring knitting if you want. They're just a crochet focused club. But I think tonight I am going to bring this project because I'm really motivated to work on it. I actually also, part of my issue with cables is that I am really bad at counting. Like I am really bad at keeping track of where I am in a cable pattern. Historically, what I've done is I've written in my notes app on my phone what row I'm on. For this sweater, I've been using emojis, so I just count the emojis and then that's how I know what row I'm on. I don't know how I've never thought of this before. When I'm doing the cable row, I put a stitch marker on the first stitch of the cable, and then from there, it's easy to count. My issue has always been that I never know what stitch in the cable is the first of the cable row. So anyway, I started doing that. I also started putting stitch markers on every decrease in the sleeve. And between those two things, I don't even have to have my phone on me when I'm working on this now, which is really nice. That's been huge for me. And I can't believe it took me this long to figure out that system. Oh my gosh. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and pack this in my backpack and get ready to go meet Eddie, and then I'll take you guys with me and we'll see what we get up to. By the way, from here on out, I am going to be filming on my iPhone. If my videos look a little bit different, my memory card on my camera ran out of storage. To make it easy on myself and to not spend money on a hard drive or a new memory card, for the time being, I'm just going to continue filming on my iPhone. So I hope the quality's okay. Sorry, it won't be all cute and Y2K-y like it is on here. Maybe this is like a pro hoarder thing that I'm about to say, but I kept this bad boy for so long that now these are like a trendy camera to have. That's hilarious. Also, does that make me feel old? Whimsy. Lots of whimsy. I'm doing it!
Trust those edges.
I'm going to twist my ankle! Here! Go! That wasn't so bad. Happy Super Bowl Sunday to all who observe, or if you're like me, happy Chips and Dip Day. Oh my gosh, Eddie surprised me yesterday by taking us cross-country skiing, which, if you knew me, you would know is like so crazy that I did that. I can count on one hand the amount of times I've skied in my life, and they were all before I was 12 years old. So definitely out of my comfort zone, and it was so fun. But I am so sore, like my whole body is sore. So I am going to rot on the couch all day long. That being said, there won't be much to see, so I'm gonna wrap up this week's vlog here, and before I do so, I did just want to check in about where I am with my sweater. I wish I had more of like a full circle satisfying ending for you this week in this week's vlog. I feel like normally I end these with I finished this whip that I started at the beginning of the week, or I finished this section of this sweater or whatever. I don't have that this week. I think working on the balaclava kind of got my focus scattered, and I've decided I think I'm gonna abandon that whip anyway, so. But here's where we are with the sweater. I have made a ton of progress on this. As we all now know, this is my last skein of this, I keep calling it mohair, but it's not mohair. This is my last skein of this alpaca blaze. So I think my mission for today, since I'm literally just gonna be hanging out at home and like eating Super Bowl junk food and knitting, I'm gonna try and get through this today. It looks like there's a lot left because I'm holding the other ball of yarn in here, but there's not that much. Speaking of this sweater, I made so much progress on this sweater at Montreal Crochet Club on Friday. And I just want to say thank you to Montreal Crochet Club for having me since I've been traveling here. If you guys live in the area and you're a crafter, I just really recommend that you go check it out. Even if you don't crochet but you've been interested in it, most of their meetups include a workshop in the beginning so that you can learn how to crochet something before the club starts. And the instruction that they do is really fantastic. So I can't recommend it enough. I'm going to leave a link down below to their beacons list, which has all the links that you need to get connected with them. Building community around the world through crafting. Like, this has just been such a cool aspect of this trip. So thank you, Montreal Crochet Club. And if you are in Montreal or if you're nearby, I just really can't recommend that you check them out enough. All right. And with that, I think we're done here. Y'all, this is the last like full length Canada vlog. I can't think about that too much or I'm gonna get sad. It's Sunday and we leave on Friday, so the next vlog that you guys see of Canada is going to be a much shorter one. It's only gonna be a few days. I'm gonna try and post it on Sunday as well, but then I will be in the middle of moving, so I hope to see y'all soon, but it might be a bit longer than we're used to. In the meantime, if you want to binge through the rest of the Canada vlogs, be sure to subscribe to my channel. I have a whole playlist dedicated to these videos, and connect with me on Instagram. My handle is @_thedropstitch. Even if I'm not posting here, I post there pretty much every day. Okay, my shoulders are so sore, even holding this microphone up is hard. So I'm gonna go. Until I see y'all in the next one, please be sure to drink some water, stretch your wrists, and please purl responsibly. See you very soon. Bye!